When a Kenosha County woman was killed on Memorial Day of this year, one thing was clear. It was completely preventable. But as Fox 6 began investigating to find out who could have prevented it, we faced a flurry of finger pointing. No one wanted to take responsibility, and no one close to the case would even talk on camera. Tonight, in this Fox 6 exclusive, the proof that will expose the truth. If you could sketch a love story.
I remember taking her to a homecoming.
And put a face on it.
She was 15 and I was 17.
A portrait would appear.
She fell in love with me.
Of teenage sweethearts whose devoted love never dims.
And knowing you have someone that loves you like that, can't help but to love them back.
A love so deep, fulfilling, and complete, losing it would be like losing the air from your lungs.
It's hard to stay alive. I mean, you think your life's gonna be forever with that person.
And if you were to hear how the story ends,
she homeschooled me.
How one man,
every night before I'd go to bed, she'd hug me.
Who should never have been where he was.
Right when I woke up, she was always there and she'd give me a big hug.
Could destroy the soul of a family.
I'm trying to stay tough for my dad. He's having a really hard time doing it.
It would sound like this.
Kenosha 911, what is your emergency?
We've just in a really bad accident.
It's a T intersection.
My wife's not moving.
Blew the stop sign.
Donnie, stay with me, honey. Please, Donnie.
Okay, just keep her talking, okay?
I love you, Donnie. I love you. Don, please. Donnie.
No lights.
Oh my God. Donnie, no.
He was an illegal alien.
Please, honey, I love you so much. Please stay with me.
Alcohol and drugs in his system.
Is he still awake?
I don't know. Your eyes are rolling.
I was holding on to her. I saw her eyes roll.
Please hurry, please.
Should be hearing the sirens, okay?
She didn't make it.
Jorge Dominguez is an illegal immigrant with an arrest record but no license to drive. Police caught him 2 hours after the crash that killed Don Glogofsky. He'd run away. But first, let's go back to the beginning, back to October 2008.
2 años pasado.
When Dominguez's wife called Burlington police.
Dices la policía.
Afraid he was going to kill her. I asked her what she told them that night.
She said that he was illegal. He was illegally in the United States and stuff.
The police notified ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, but Dominguez didn't show up in the federal database. So days later, Jorge Dominguez was back on the street. But it didn't take long for him to be back in cell 5 at the Burlington police station. Over the next 6 months, he was cited, arrested, questioned, fingerprinted. He became a familiar face to law enforcement. But ICE and the police never put 2 and 2 together.
There were so many opportunities to remove this person from the country and to make sure that he didn't continue to, create havoc.
But as I said, that was just the beginning. Jorge Dominguez was arrested again in Racine County in May of last year, and this time, ICE slapped an immigration detainer on him. He was finally caught. His days in the U.S. were numbered. But then something happened, something completely unexpected, something that ultimately led to the death of Don Glogofsky.
And I hope whatever was done, somebody will fess up to it instead of hiding it like they've been hiding.
You see, Cook County in Illinois staked a claim on Dominguez. They wanted him extradited for an old drug charge before he was deported. And on July 4th, 2009, the Racine County Jail sent this teletype to Cook County, advising them Jorge Dominguez was illegal and had an immigration hold from ICE. Does it look like Racine did the right thing?
Oh, clearly.
As a former district attorney in Waukesha County, Paul Bucher knows how the system works.
This has an INS order to detain. They're telling them place a hold on this subject when you pick him up from our jail. INS wants him.
3 days later, this internal ICE memo says Cook County, aware Dominguez was on a detainer, called and requested it. And this faxed copy confirms on that day, July 7th, the detainer was sent to the Cook County Sheriff's 24-hour lockup in Maywood. Their job was to notify ICE before he could be released.
That's the law and you need to follow it.
But 2 days later, Jorge Dominguez walked out of the Cook County lockup a free man. ICE was never informed.
Kind of got lucky, so to speak. Yeah.
Like he already thought he was going to go to Mexico and stuff, but we just released him.
And I want justice for my sister. And if they would have followed the protocol, this wouldn't have happened. So who's responsible?
According to ICE and the state attorney's office in Illinois, the sheriff's department in Cook County is responsible. But the Cook County Sheriff's Department claims it never received a detainer for Dominguez and never requested one either. There was no detainer here, the sheriff's spokesman insists, so there's nothing to investigate. What they can't explain, or won't explain, aside from the Racine teletype notifying them Dominguez was illegal, the internal ICE email that says Cook County called for the detainer, and the faxed copy of the detainer itself, is that right here, in the Cook County court file for Jorge Dominguez, is the immigration detainer the Sheriff's Department swears never existed. And the day after it was sent to the sheriff's 24-hour lockup in Maywood, where Dominguez was being held, the detainer was still in Cook County, and it was faxed again by the courthouse warrant clerk.
They knew he was an illegal alien, and they didn't do anything. And I know if they would have, she would still be here.
So how could this happen? An honest mistake? A simple oversight? Or was it something else?
I've determined a reckless indifference.
Jim Gatsky represents Don Glogowski's husband and son, and he believes it was no mistake.
They had made a decision at some point that that immigration issues were not going to be something that they were going to be worried about enforcing.
Cook was the first county in the country to declare itself an official sanctuary, a place where police are not allowed to ask about a person's immigration status, kind of a don't ask, don't tell. In 2008, the spokesman for the sheriff, the same spokesman who insists there's nothing to investigate, was quoted in a Chicago News website saying, "We do not work with immigration." He also claims the sheriff's department has, quote, not had any issues with prior detainer cases. But this internal ICE email disputes that. This is not the first time this has happened at Cook, it says. We have subjects that get transferred to Cook County and the detainers are lost. But when pressed for answers about this, the sheriff's spokesman tried to deflect my questions with a personal attack.
I thought you said you were a reporter, but I see you say you find some things hard to believe.
And when we tried to speak to him in person,
He's never returned my phone calls in the last few weeks, or my emails, and so we thought by coming down here we may be able to get an opportunity to talk with him.
he was unavailable, and we were told he would be for days. On July 9th, 2009, while Dawn and Frank Glogowski were getting ready for their son Remy's weekend swim meet, Jorge Dominguez was set free from the Cook County lockup. At that moment, the clock began counting down the final 326 days of Don Glogowski's life, to the moment when two paths crossed in a split second on these country roads, and the love story slid away into the still night air.
The fact that the other family was there at the exact second.
Don Glogowski's family grapples with the terrible timing.
If they weren't there 1 second less, that wouldn't have happened.
The painful question, why in that place at that moment?
You play it in your head over and over again, a second here or there.
But the real question isn't why Don Glogowski was there. The question is, why was Jorge Dominguez? Dominguez is now in the Kenosha County Jail, and once again ICE has an immigration detainer on him. His trial is set for March of next year. He faces 9 felonies, including homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle and fatal hit and run.
Has Dominguez ever said anything about this accident?
Well, not directly to us, and his attorney wouldn't return our calls, but his family says he told them it was another man who was driving. However, he doesn't know who that man is. Dominguez, by the way, was covered in blood when police found him, and the criminal complaint says there was blood only on the driver's side airbag.